Yeah, good evening everyone, and you're welcome to my channel once again. Wanted to kind of talk about, what we've spoken about earlier, September of this year. I think I may have mentioned a whole lot of things, and we've spoken about a whole lot of things. I just want to focus much more in particular about Ethereum and also maybe a few about BTC as well. That would just be whole. I think earlier around September, late September, 22nd of September, I remember mentioning first that we are expecting Ethereum to come to around 3000 level. Emphasis laid on 3000 level, right? I was expecting price to come there. We saw this imbalance here, the inefficiency, right? We were expecting the price would actually tank to this very low before we possibly may be looking for a continuation to for higher prices. And just in that, I told you my confluences are very simple, right? I mentioned about the liquidity being taken here. The CSR liquidity was fully being taken here. I would say we said the buy side liquidity also was being rated. So there's always an expectation that if a new range is being created like this, that's just a simple idea, right? That we need a fair retracement. To fill in this imbalances before we could actually, have price, continue to move to towards the higher prices. And you can actually see how we were following up on all of our commentaries on my YouTube channel. Around October 13 as well. We even have a form of indecisive candlestick really being created at that time. It was going back and forth, yet I stood on the ground talking about that. This was a contraction, and I'm expecting that price should actually expand to the lower price yet still before we could see price still continue. I think we made some other additional commentaries about that, and I think okay, about BTC. I spoke about the fact that I'm expecting it at 90,000 level price level. So all these two are majorly what I'm looking out for on both Bitcoin and also on Ethereum, right? So today we'll be going to check what is actually currently happening and the live chat, right? I would love to check on the live chat and see. Let neglect this projection for now, and let's focus on the major, right, and be able to decide and be able to also have something to talk about today. Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that I was skeptical about this place actually being the actual reversal that I was expecting, which actually later happened. That was September 25th. We saw price coming to this coming much more when going higher and creating an high and price begins to tank to the lower part. I would love to also take this delineation away because they are much more significant to the lower time frame. Right, so like I said, I'm still expecting price to come down to around 90k on BTC, and also in Ethereum, I'm expecting price to still, come down to, 3000 level. If you go down to lower time frame, there's not so much to really, see there, but only, but probably you might necessarily talk about the SMT divergence. If you delineate this eye, this very eye that was created August of this year, right? And if you go for BTC as well and you look at that same high that was created, you would notice that there was a kind of SMT divergence that actually happened at that very particular. That confirms a kind of correlative, what's it called now? A correlative SMT divergence movement over there. And of course, anyone who have really caught that, perhaps if you're going down to the one time frame, you may as well have been able to now see um, my reason. So when that happened, we saw a fall, to the lower time frame. We saw a fall, and we were expecting that there should be this liquidity being taken before we could actually enter for a sell, which was why you saw you I gave out an insight. This was why I gave an insight about the fact of the price. I'm expecting it to sell further down, right? So it just, all into one. That's ought to be at the back of your mind. That simple thing that just matters. I saw this divergence and I took the sell when this retracement actually occurred again for a further sell to the downside. So we are still very much on it. I posted it, and then we can see our price is actually really still going further down on BTC, right, on BTC. So I'm still very down on expecting price to come down to 90k, and on Ethereum as well, I'm expecting price to come further down to the 3k as well. So these are very things that you want to look out for when you're actually trading. You can see they gave a very good insight of about their intention of going further down. This very low, I mean this very high, they didn't actually reach out to. This high here that was created August 24th, right? And we saw how price tanked. It created an inefficiency around this place here. Created an inefficiency. Let me delete that out. An inefficiency here. I saw how price stood in within that. I haven't taken this low here. That was a break in market structure. We saw the price mitigated this, liquidated, I mean got to liquidate every stop losses that was on this high here, but rather price on Ethereum actually um, mitigated, and that gives us a more impression that price was going to really indeed fall to the lower price. So my stance still is still very much on the fact of that we are going to be having price, move downward, and I will not be surprised if price reaches 3001 and 3000 level until okay, until we hear again the same thing there. The same thing happened here. Saw retracement, and then we took it down to we are taking it down to this very particular place. So it's just the same thing who happen all over and over again. Okay, there's no complications when you are able to simplify your trade. You know what you're looking for, you see it happens, and you execute it, and that's what trade is all about. If anyone had entered from this very high here, right, if you'd enter from this high here, and your stop loss is on this very here, and you're expecting price to come down to this low, you'll be having a more than 2.5 har. So meaning that if you're risking $1,000, you might be expecting to get 2.5. That is 2005. If you're risking $10,000, you will be expecting to get 20,000, $25,000. So it just determines on your risk appetite and what you can actually swallow as a trader, right? But most importantly, you have to be a patient hunter, someone who is patient enough to actually let the market comes to him or to her, right? You have to just be a kind of trader like that who knows where he or she is actually going to be executing the trades, right? You're not in a hurry, right? You're not in a hurry to execute anything. You want the price to come to you before you execute the trade. And that's what makes you a smart trader. That's what makes you a profitable trader as an individual. So you have to really look out for all of that. If you're able to, on and on execute trades, and you are going to grow peace in your heart, you are going to also see your portfolio also, growing as well. And that is the joy, the reason why you ever started trading in the very first place. All right. And until we meet again, until you hear from me again, I wish you good luck and good trading.